Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Lam, sitting in for Liang Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. A small plane had to make an emergency landing in Southern California. The resulting crash took the life of a former city mayor. A flight attendant pleaded guilty to smuggling fentanyl. She admitted to using her status as a flight attendant to commit the offense. California's minimum wage is increasing in a few days. Starting on January 1st, businesses will have to pay more than $15 an hour. Shen Performing Arts returns to California with their all-new 2023 show. It's been called a cultural phenomenon, and I attended Monday night's opening performance to hear what audience members had to say. One of the regions of California that Shen Performing Arts is visiting for its world tour in 2023 is the state's Bay Area. And as you can see behind me, the San Jose Performing Arts Center is its first stop in the state. Now, it's right in time for the holiday season for friends and family to get together. Many audience members were impressed at Shen Yun's December 26th performance in Silicon Valley.
I'm here with my wife and friends. It's amazing, very nice, and I like the way you have incorporated the technology as well as the actual performance. It's very elegant, really love it. The costumes and the elegant things and the live orchestra is amazing.
For many that have been waiting, seeing Shen Yun was a Christmas gift with their loved ones.
I'm quite impressed. It wasn't anything like I expected. I love the dance, I love the music, I love the thoughts that are behind the show. I love the backdrops. They're fantastic. It's very unique. It's something I've never seen before.
Combination and the intersection of the music along with the dance was something I haven't really seen before, so it was really awesome.
Shen Yun performs a new program of choreography and music every year.
I think that it's important to look at culture and preserve culture, and then look in modern times and look at how do we keep culture evolving and progressing.
Glad that somebody else is standing up and then performing to let the rest of the world know as to what it is.
I think we need much more of it. We need something to inspire us because the current culture is not inspiring. Well, please keep doing what you're doing. We need more of your work in today's world.
Shen Yun Performing Arts is performing in over a dozen California cities, including San Francisco, Berkeley, Sacramento, and San Diego. David Lam, NTD News, San Jose, California. A small plane crashed in Southern California last Thursday. The crash took the life of the passenger, who was later identified as a former city mayor.
Santa Monica city officials have identified the passenger who died in the small plane crash as 95-year-old Rex Minter. He served as Santa Monica mayor from 1963 to 1967. Minter lost his life on December 22nd. The single-engine aircraft had to make an emergency landing on Santa Monica Beach, just south of the iconic pier. According to the Los Angeles County Fire Department, Minter and the pilot were the only two people on the plane. Rescuers freed both passengers from the plane wreckage and sent them to the hospital. The pilot's condition is currently unknown. According to data from the flight recording, the pilot originally planned to fly to Malibu. Reports say the plane began experiencing engine trouble near the Pacific Palisades, leading to the crash.
The California Highway Patrol recovered over $400,000 worth of stolen goods from the North Face. 2 people have been arrested in connection to the case.
CHP's Cargo Theft Interdiction Program and the Visalia Police Department arrested 2 suspects in connection with the stolen products from the North Face. The items are worth about $414,000. The investigation started when the North Face lost an entire shipment of products. On December 19th, investigators searched a public storage facility in Sun Valley, California. They found 2 storage lockers full of the stolen North Face cargo. There, the suspects were arrested for felony possession of stolen property and booked into the Los Angeles Police Department Van Nuys Jail. Authorities say the investigation is ongoing.
A flight attendant has pleaded guilty to a federal drug possession. She attempted to board a plane at San Diego International Airport with more than 3 pounds of fentanyl.
On December 22nd, 41-year-old Therese L. White of Dallas, Texas, admitted in a plea agreement to attempting to board another plane with more than 3 pounds of fentanyl taped to her abdomen. Prosecutors said White tried to use the known crew member line to board, but was selected for the regular passenger screening process instead. The complaint alleges she told police the packages were, quote, not what you think, and that a coworker had given her a mercury pack to wear for weight loss. White pleaded guilty Thursday to 1 count of possession with the intent to distribute fentanyl and is slated for sentencing in March. Her plea agreement includes an admission that she tried to use her status as a flight attendant to commit the offense.
A probe by the Dailymail revealed nearly 400 pedophile dens in California. These dens housed multiple convicted pedophiles of the most heinous crimes.
The Daily Mail has discovered nearly 2,000 convicted pedophiles in California. These individuals are allegedly living together in groups of 3 or more at 442 locations across the state. Some of these, quote, pedophile dens are reportedly in close proximity to schools. Former Deputy District Attorney Sam Dordulian told the Daily Mail that the numbers are terrifying. He says, quote, even if they're trying to stay clean, they're in an environment where they are around other pedophiles. They're going to be talking about children, having child porn available, and it's just creating a situation where you're almost sure there is going to be another offense. The Daily Mail analyzed the data from the Megan's Law database of registered sex offenders in California and found 58,685 sex offenders. 73%, or 43,007 of those offenders have been convicted of sex crimes involving children. A spokeswoman for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation told the Daily Mail that the law states all registered sex offender parolees shall not reside in a single-family dwelling with any other sex offender, whether or not they are on parole, unless they're related by blood, marriage, or adoption. However, the Daily Mail interviewed multiple homeowners at homes where up to 6 pedophiles were allegedly residing and sharing a room together. The California Department of Justice, which administers the Megan's Law database, had previously told the Daily Mail that they know about these so-called pedophile dens. In a statement last month, the department said that it was the district attorneys, courts, and state legislators' issue to deal with. But he added that the department has, quote, human trafficking and sexual predator apprehension teams, which work regularly with the local authorities to protect public safety.
California's minimum wage is set to go up come January 1st, and in some areas such as Silicon Valley, companies must pay above minimum wage to meet the cost of living.
California's minimum wage will increase to $15.50 on January 1st, regardless of employer size. This means a 50-cent increase for bigger companies and a $1.50 increase for small businesses of 25 employees or less. The state's minimum wage has been steadily going up by $1 every year since 2017. In 2022, it was adjusted to $15 an hour. It would have been capped off at a $15 per hour rate under a law signed by then-Governor Jerry Brown in 2016. But due to a 7% increase to the U.S. Consumer Price Index, an automatic minimum wage increase was triggered. Financial advisor Emily Huston said if the inflation continues to rise, California may see another increase in minimum wage in 2024. She told the California Globe, that's the tidal wave we see on the horizon. This wave would capsize most businesses as a result. With higher operation cost, economic worries, and now major adjustments to wage, many businesses could face the tough choice of foregoing raises and hiring, laying off employees, or raising consumer prices to stay in business.
Now we're going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we've got for you when we come back. More rain and snow is coming this week. Several counties have put out advisories for potential flooding and high winds. A California couple is helping boost morale among U.S. Border Patrol agents. They say the agents have been poorly represented amid political tensions. And following the death of a famous mountain lion, the man behind the big cat's Twitter pages speaks out. He questions the future of the account. That and more on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Lamb. The National Weather Service is expecting rainfall in parts of California to arrive or continue for the rest of the week. Also, temperature drops are expected in the Los Angeles area. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
An atmospheric river is likely to bring rainfall to certain regions in California this week, as well as temperature drops in major cities. The National Weather Service describes an atmospheric river as relatively narrow regions in the atmosphere that are responsible for most of the transport of water vapor from the tropics. This could bring heavy rainfall, flooding, and in the mountains, heavy snowfall. For Northern California, the National Weather Service announced a flood watch for the North Bay, San Francisco, and the coastline. A wind advisory is also in effect from Sonoma County to Santa Cruz County. The National Weather Service told CBS San Francisco, quote, "Like the Jelly of the Month Club, a stout jet across the entirety of the Pacific Basin will be the gift that keeps on giving as it delivers additional waves of moisture across the West Coast. Potentially up to 3 additional waves of moisture will be possible for the new year, with systems possible again on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and additional waves arriving through the first week of January." The National Weather Service is also expecting temperature drops in Southern California from 15 to 20 degrees. A storm is expected to move through the area on Wednesday. Downtown Los Angeles is expected to get down into the 60s on Wednesday and eventually the upper 50s by Thursday and Friday. The National Weather Service told KTLA the storm door will remain open through the rest of the week with a chance of rain every day. While atmospheric rivers can be hazardous, meteorologists say it could also offset some of California's prolonged drought conditions. Jason Blair, NTD News, California.
What does the future hold for California and our plan to reduce emissions? According to one author, it's not realistic to make the use of fossil fuel go extinct.
Governor Gavin Newsom has been pushing to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. One way is by going solar and advocating for electric vehicles. But Ronald Stein, an author and energy consultant, told California Insider CM Karami oil production in the state was huge.
Back in '95, California and Alaska imports accounted for about 95% of our demands within the state. That 5% dependency on foreign countries has increased. Today it's almost 60%.
He explains why cutting back on fossil fuel doesn't seem as plausible as one would hope. Last week, the California Air Resources Board approved an unprecedented plan to, quote, shift the world's 4th largest economy from fossil fuels to clean and renewable energy. The plan aims to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 85% and reach carbon neutrality by 2045. He says Newsom's push to reduce in-state oil production would put us more dependent on foreign countries, and importing oil to California currently causes a significant amount of emissions.
The irony of the whole thing is he's trying to reduce emissions here because he sees California as a bubble. He wants to clean up the bubble. The oil being transported by oil tankers from Saudi Arabia here, their annual emissions, because they use a low-grade fuel, the annual emissions from the tankers bringing in all that oil every day, 365 days a year, the tanker emissions is double the entire mobile fleet of California.
The entire mobile fleet he refers to is all the cars, trucks, and various modes of transportation in the state. Stein says the state sends $150 million a day to the oil-rich countries. In addition, the state is also making it harder for oil companies to operate.
We've got a lot of environmental laws, the low carbon fuel standard, cap and trade, and each year they get harder and harder to meet the emission requirements. It's more expensive. So the California refineries, they incur the most cost to manufacture the fuels.
When it costs more to operate, the costs get passed down to consumers. Last year, 2 oil refineries shut down. Now they are only making renewable diesel. In Northern California, only the Chevron Richmond Refinery and Marathon Petroleum Corporation remains. Stein explains that they are the only ones remaining in Northern California that manufacture aviation fuel for all the airports.
They're so motivated to go to zero emissions, they're forgetting the one basic fact. The world populated from 1 billion to 8 billion in less than 200 years. And ironically, right after the discovery of oil. You know, all the 6,000 products we have in our daily lives for, communications, electronics, the medical industry, on and on and on, has allowed society to develop. Now we got 8 billion people on this earth. There's a lot of challenges. They talk about climate change. I think it's more of a climate challenge than a climate change. But the challenges are how you're going to preserve these 8 billion people.
In the long run, without any changes, he foresees supply shortages and inflation as oil supply cannot keep up with demand.
To watch the full program, find California Insider on YouTube or Epic TV on the Epic Times website. After thousands in migrant caravans began arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border in 2018, a California couple decided to lend their support to Border Patrol agents. The couple say that the agents have been, quote, unfairly maligned amid political tensions. So their nonprofit tries to boost morale among those working at the border.
One Anaheim Hills couple helps boost the morale of Border Patrol agents who are dealing with migrant influxes. The couple, Diane and Tom Langen, created the nonprofit Morale Boosters to aid the agents through, quote, simple acts of kindness. According to Diane, many officers have confided in her feelings of increased depression, anxiety, among other negative thoughts during the growing crisis at the border. Diane told the Epic Times Border Patrol agents need to know that citizens still support them, especially after being so unfairly malaligned in the media in recent years. The couple visits Border Patrol posts along the southern border to provide free lunches, deliver handwritten cards of encouragement, conduct marriage counseling programs, and much more. Diane said, I can't tell you how much the littlest thing we do means to Border Patrol agents. It really does make a huge difference to their lives. She says many patrol officers say they feel like they must keep their profession a secret. They do this for fear of being targeted and discriminated against. Diane says such stressors inspired her nonprofit to do more to address officers' struggles. Those wishing to support Border Patrol and law enforcement officers can donate to Morale Boosters on their website at moraleboosters.us.
The man behind the Twitter page for Los Angeles' famous mountain lion speaks out following the big cat's death. The man questions whether to keep the account running. For 10 years, the Twitter account GP Mountain Lion was the voice of Los Angeles' famous P22 mountain lion, affectionately known as Hollywood Cat by locals. But the famous cat was put down earlier this month. The decision came after veterinarians found he had numerous health problems. Now, the man who ran P22's Twitter page questions whether to keep the account active following the big cat's death.
This is a cat that meant a lot of things to a lot of people. And I've tried to be very thoughtful and respectful of that. And if I ever felt that it would be appropriate, I think I would. But this account, I've tried very hard not to make this mine. Like I tried to make this what I really honestly thought would be the voice of this cat.
P22 roamed the residential areas of Los Angeles. His many adventures include crossing a pair of busy LA freeways to claim new territory and being a suspect in the killing of a koala at the LA Zoo, which made him a favorite of the media. He was captured in a residential backyard on December 12th, a month after killing a chihuahua on a dog walker's leash. State and federal wildlife officials said earlier this month that they were concerned P22 may be exhibiting signs of distress due in part to aging. P22 was believed to be 12 years old, having lived longer than most wild male mountain lions. Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for your sports update.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you the California Today Sports Roundup.
The United States will permit Major League Baseball players from Cuba to represent their home country in the World Baseball Classic next year. The decision announced Saturday in a news release by the Baseball Federation of Cuba could be a big step in once again turning Cuba's national team into heavy hitters on an international stage. Hundreds of players have already defected from Cuba to play professionally elsewhere. Many become United States residents and then stars in Major League Baseball in the U.S. The defections are largely due to a not-so-uncommon geopolitical spat between the two seaside neighbors, leaving Cuban players stuck in the middle. Cuban athletes competing on the island can't earn a paycheck under the communist government, which prohibited professional sports following the Cuban Revolution 60 years ago. However, longtime sanctions by the U.S. make it largely impossible for Cubans to play professionally for an American team without defecting from Cuba. Meanwhile, Cuba has historically not allowed Cuban players who defected onto their national team rosters. But the Baseball Federation of Cuba changed its tune and invited several top players who defected to represent the country in the World Baseball Classic. Weeks later, Cuban officials accused the Biden administration of blocking those players from representing Cuba. In a statement Saturday, FCB President Juan Ronaldo Perez Pardo called the permit a positive step and said that the Cuban Federation should have more information about the team's WBC roster once it has more details about the license granted by the U.S. At the same time, Perez Pardo also criticized the U.S., tweeting Saturday that it is arbitrary and discriminatory that a permit from the government of this country is needed to attend the WBC. Swinging over to the NFL action last night, Austin Eckler scored on 2 one-yard runs and Los Angeles clinched its first postseason berth since 2018, intercepting Indianapolis quarterback Nick Foles 3 times to beat the overmatched Colts 20-3 on Monday night. With the win, LA clinched a spot in the postseason for the first time in young quarterback Justin Herbert's career. As a post-game party in the Chargers locker room ensued, second-year head coach Brandon Staley handed a game ball to owner Dean Spanos. Herbert has been revered as one of the top young QBs in the game and now has finally gotten LA to the promised land. He threw for 235 yards in the win, and Cameron Dicker made 2 short field goals for the Chargers to complete their domination of Indianapolis. "It's been a while," receiver Keenan Allen said after catching 11 passes for 104 yards, his 6th straight 100-yard game on the road. Herbert also struggled early until Eckler scored the first points of the game with a short TD run midway through the second quarter. Eckler had 18 carries for 67 yards, becoming the 4th player in 15 years to score at least 15 touchdowns in back-to-back seasons, and needs 1 more catch to post the 6th 100-catch season by a running back in league history. While Herbert completed 24 of his 31 passes and saw his 3-game streak of 300-yard games come to an end, the numbers didn't matter. All that mattered was winning and getting into the postseason party for the 24-year-old QB. Chargers 20, Colts 3.
And that's all for sports.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like for you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/california-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with your friends or family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Lamb. Have a wonderful evening.